What's up, guys? How are you doing today? Summer's almost over. Can you believe it? Holy moly. You know what it feels like? 2 months. That 4 to 5 month summer now seems like 2 months. I don't know if it's just me. It's very, very weird. We're only in August and it's cooling down already, like in the 80s. Oh, give me the 90s back. I like heat. California, sorry. Georgia's hot too. Georgia's much hotter than California most of the time, but not this year. Anyway, I am back to my 6th video now. I have put out there 5 videos. You can go to my channel and have a look. I think the first one was my heart attack that I had. The other one was 5 lessons that I wish I knew when I was 20, which is very informative. The next one was money decisions, which is also very informative, especially for the younger set. And I think the last one was decisions that you make. So those 4, is that 4? 5. Anywho, I lost track. I think this is video 5 or 6. You go to my channel and find out. So the topic today that I want to talk about, because I've thought about, there's so many topics of information that I want to put out there that I feel a need to pass on to the younger generation. And I don't care if younger means 50, if it means 48, if it means 32, 19, 20 years old. Hopefully that will be my audience going forward, somewhere between about 20 and 40. Because this is the information that an old man could give you as if I were your father or your uncle or grandfather or something like that. If you haven't been told this in the past, I'm trying to put this information out for the purposes of making sure that you don't make the same mistakes that I do. Because I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I made a lot of good decisions, but a lot of mistakes. So that's kind of what my channel is about, in case you just stumbled on here for whatever reason. Maybe you saw the Friends. It's really hard to Google Friends because all you ever get is a TV show. That's all you ever get is a TV show, Friends. So it was hard to come up with a picture to kind of, like a quick peek at what this video is going to be about. Phony friends, fake friends. I want to talk about that. That's very, very dear to my heart. So there's some stuff in here that may or may not apply to you. It applies to me, which is why I'm talking about it. And a lot of psychological terms get thrown around needlessly nowadays, where people talk about, oh, I got PTSD and I've got this and I've got that and blah blah blah. Empath is one of those. Narcissist is another. Get thrown around a lot. But when you start to, if you look at yourself from a third-party objective point of view, if you can, you start realizing some of the little dings that you have in your personality, whether that's a short temper, whether that's, like extraordinarily nice, whether that's shy, whether that's an extrovert. Everybody knows basically what they are. And I'm an empath. I'm an empath because I've had many rough times in my life. And because of those rough times, it caused me, I think it goes back deeper than that, probably to my childhood. But because of those rough times, in particular, is why I'm an empath. I have empathy for people because I've been there, done that. Like when I run across somebody who has a flat tire or something like that, I want to help because I've been there and nobody's ever helped me. Never. Nobody's ever helped me to change a flat tire or to, ask if I'm okay or anything like that. So often, and I was doing that a whole lot in the 90s when I first moved here to Atlanta. But I used to do it prior to that too, back in the 80s, especially when I was a fireman, because that's what we do. We want to rescue people. To me, it's a good personality trait. But to a narcissist, we are bait. Like we're the meal. We're the meal for a narcissist, because a narcissist is all about them. And as an empath, we always make it all about them. And that's the weird little conundrum that I got caught in a couple years ago with a so-called, I can't do two hands because I'm holding the camera with one, but I'm doing quotation marks, with a so-called friend of mine that I took care of, that I made sure, like everything was good, and that, if there was any issues, bumps along the road or whatever, because knowing somebody the way that you do, or the way that I did, when things are bad. When there's little bumps in the road, hiccups and stuff like that, and you want to take up for that. You want to help that person. And I did that a lot. What I did not know, because the red flags were there, I was blinded by them because I like this person so much. What I did not know is the whole time I was being used. And it's a really crappy feeling, because when you give so much of yourself and that other person doesn't give an equitable amount back, that's when you start. It was bad. It was bad. Somebody who I thought was my best friend, actually, and arguably for the 5 or 6 years that we knew each other, we were kind of best friends to each other. We shared experiences in life. We shared, the good, the bad, the ugly. It was usually a phone call or a text by the end of the day. If we missed a day, it was rare, but it was a good friendship. I enjoyed it while it lasted, but it didn't last because I started getting a clue toward the end. And toward the end, that person started, dissing me and disrespecting me, and doing a whole bunch of stuff that was very blatantly not right to treat somebody. And it's disgusting. And, there's a lot of emotions involved in that. There's anger, and there's, it messes you up. Don't give too much to somebody, unless it's going to be your life mate. And then you can't give enough. Then you can't give enough. If it's reciprocated, you see, that's the key. The problem that I've run into most of my life, and why I'm here and telling you all this stuff, friendships, like any relationship, and a friendship is a relationship, needs watering. It needs to grow. It needs to make sure that, like you pull out the weeds around it, make sure that it's fed, and, it's maintenance. Friendship is a maintenance. It's a chore. It's a bit of a chore sometimes. It shouldn't be, but sometimes it is. You start thinking, oh man, I haven't called Frank, or I haven't called, Alan or something like that in over a week. Let me touch base with them and find out how they're doing, which should be natural. But even if you drop the ball and you're like, ooh, I haven't called Frank or Alan, and even if, I don't mean it in a bad way, but even if you force yourself to pick up the phone and talk to them or whatever, or get together with them or whatever, they feel a kinship to you with that. And it should be, as I said, reciprocated. That Frank or Alan or whoever it is should also reach back to you. If it's been over a week and, they haven't heard from you, that shows caring. That shows respect, that you really do care about somebody. Oftentimes, you leave somebody, whether it's a male or female or whatever, hey, let me know when you get home. Call me when you get home. Text me, let me know. And that person drops off before you can even get home. That's not a friend. That's a rhetorical statement they gave you. They didn't mean that. They don't really care. I'm not saying they don't care if you get in an accident. I'm saying they don't care about your well-being. If they fell off before you even got home, and then when you do text, crickets. How's that for a friendship? So, getting back to nurturing friendships, and I've been guilty of this many, many times. I've had many, trust me, I've had many friends, so-called friends, throughout my life. Some of my boyhood friends, when I was a teenager, I lost track of over the years because, life happens. About 9 years ago, I tried to get back in touch with them. They're in California, and they weren't really interested. It's like Jeff and Kurt and a couple of others, Steve, that I tried to reconnect with, and they're like, we've moved on. Our life is gone in this direction, and you're kind of a blast from the past, sort of type of thing. They weren't mad at me. It was just kind of like, if you don't keep up on that friendship. Had I kept up on that friendship like I did with my friend Alan from the Army, when I was 17 years old. I still have his number in my phone. I can call him right now because I kept up more or less. There have been years that go by, and then we reconnect like it never even went by, and we'll reconnect for 6 months or a year, and then 2 or 3 years will go by. Lately, we've been much better at that because we realize we don't have a lot of time left. What I'm trying to get at is nurture these friendships. Nurture them as much as you can, because they're going to mean something to you when you get older. It's very hard to get friends when you get old. I mean, you can hang out at the shuffleboard court. You can hang out and go play bingo at the community center, and meet up with some people, like-minded, like soul type of people that are your age and all that stuff. But you're going to hear a lot of complaints, oh, my back, and I just had surgery, and I got heart issues and this and that. It's going to be a lot of complaining. So I don't know. I've always gotten along with people who are a little younger than myself. That's just personal thing. I do have some older friends. In fact, I have one who's pretty bad health right now, but he's about 17 years older than I am. And I've been in constant contact with him for the last 25 years. Like, there's no sliding there, except for maybe the last couple, 3 or 4 years because of his health, and his wife is taking care of him mostly and all that stuff. Anywho, the point being, stay away from fake people. Watch what they do, not what they say. Watch what they do, not what they say. When you find yourself, and this is kind of a weird, complicated situation. I have a habit of people that are close to me, of getting them a birthday present, or even if it's just a birthday card or something. I'm going to do something for them. If I know that they have a need or a want or something like that, and a holiday or something comes around, I'll get it for them. But then after a while, I realize, wow, this person never has done anything for me, never got me one thing. Not even a 6-pack of Pepsi or something. Like, never did they get me anything. And then you start to realize, wow, what kind of one-sided friendship is this? And I'm not talking about a reparation. I'm not talking about, oh, I'm keeping track of all these things that I'm doing for you, and you've never done anything for me, and you throw it back at them, and then they get angry. That's a little narcissistic, because they feel guilty. Or they haven't thought of you at all, and it's real, but they still throw it back at you, like it's your fault. Oh, why do you tell me all these things I did for you? So I haven't done anything for you, so what? And da-da-da. So it's very, very thin tightrope that you walk if you try and throw it back at them. But at a certain point, when you get fed up, which will happen, you're like, no, screw it. You're not really a friend. I don't do things for people to get something back, because nobody can get me anything that, is going to make my day. Put it like that. But the simplest little thing, even if it's a handmade card or something like that, or whatever, the simplest little thing, I get happy about, and I'll say forever. Just that simple thing, because that person meant something to me, and they gave something to me. They thought about me. So it's a thought present, not so much an expense present, if that makes sense. Those are the people that you want to associate yourself with. There was a point in 2022, early 2023, 2 years ago, where there was about 8 to 10 people in my phone that were phony. Because I started thinking about them individually and their behavior toward me and their lack of reaching out or caring. It seemed like I was always the one reaching out. But if they were in trouble or they needed help, they would come to me. So I just started realizing that they're not really my friend. They're users. So I just delete, block, delete, block, delete, block. I kept doing that over and over. I didn't give it a whole lot of thought. I thought about their behavior, as I said, individually, and then delete, block, delete, block, delete, block, delete, block. Interestingly, In that 2-year period, only one of those people reached out to me because they knew they were blocked. If somebody did that to me, if I put the shoe on the other foot and I knew I was blocked, I don't know what I did, but I would reach out. If I really cared about them, I would reach out. Hey, I see I'm blocked. What did I do? Like, I would want to make amends. I would want to bring forth an apology, because sometimes you don't know if you did something wrong or not. But these people that I'm talking about 2 years later, they don't care, neither do I. Actually, I'm glad they haven't reached out. But like I said, with the shoe on the other foot, not knowing what you don't know, yeah, I would definitely reach out to them. And if I did something, oh, when you did XYZ that day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, crap, you're right. My bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. Never happen again. When you accept responsibility for your action in anything in life, but especially friendships, that says a lot. That shows maturity. That shows respect. And in opposition to that, if the people don't reach out, or you just continue to see them, use you and all that, get rid of those people. The issue is, as I said before, the older you get, the harder it is to find friends, which is why I'm suggesting keep those. The ones that you have when you're in your 30s and 40s, try and hold on to them if they're true friends. Make contact with them. I don't mean every day, but at least once a week or once a month at the worst case scenario, reach out to them. Link up with them, go have dinner, go have a drink, go to the beach or something like that. Keep that strong connection, because you're going to appreciate that when you get older. Somebody that knows your past, the idea that you have all these memories in your head that you can talk about to nobody but yourself if all you do is you. But if you have these memories with somebody else, when you get older, 20, 30, that's what me and Alan do. My buddy from the Army. Oh, you remember when we went to San Francisco? Oh, yeah, that was a hoot and this and that. And we got stuck on the road, and we have memories to share. That's just as important. That relationship is as important as any marriage or any BFF or anything like that, because basically it is. So that's why I say nurture those friendships when you're in your 30s and 40s or even younger, and keep those going. You'll appreciate it later. When you get older, like I am, much, much harder. And I was a little tenuous, like, should I delete? Should I really delete? Because if I delete all these 9 people, there's going to be like 3 left over in my phone. And I'm like, do I only have 3 friends? Wow. And then one of my friends, who I've been friends with for about 30 years, I was doing it's a long story, but I needed his help. And I reached out to him while I was doing this project 4 or 5 times. Hey, I'm having an issue. What do I do here? Blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to text to me and all this stuff. I pick up the phone because, text, hello. Picked up the phone, talked to him. He tried to walk me through it. Then I got stuck again. Then I called him. And at a point I said, why don't you just come over here and help me through this? He's like, oh, I'm not driving all the way out there. I'm like, why? Oh, you remember that time we went up to... You remember that time we went up to Knoxville and, I helped you on that thing, and then we were driving back and you didn't even offer me lunch? What? Like, you're mad at me because I didn't offer you lunch? Okay. I don't eat lunch. You know that. I'm not a foodie. I don't eat breakfast or lunch. So the expectation that he had that I would offer to him lunch is just kind of weird, because I've known him for 30 years. He's not shy. He would have said, hey, Bob, I'm hungry. Can we pull over and can you buy me lunch? And I'm like, sure. I think I paid for his gas because he had to drive out to me in order to meet up with me and all that stuff. But I didn't know that his panties were in a wad because I didn't buy him lunch. And I was flabbergasted. But I pushed back a little bit, but eventually I apologized. I'm like, well, you should have told me. Like, literally, you should have told me. I would have done it. It's not like, $10 is going to break my bank. But anyway, moving forward, getting into what I was saying, so I'm asking him for his help, and he's refusing, and then finally telling me he's not going to come out here because of the last time in Knoxville. And I'm like, why are you holding this grudge? Like, why didn't you say something? A couple 3-4 weeks later, I really did honestly need his help. and he was doing some work for this lady that I referred him to. He would not know this lady if it were not for me. And he said, if it doesn't rain tomorrow, then I'm going to be at her place working. And I'm like, you could go over to her place the day after. Anyway, it didn't rain the next day. Sorry, it did rain the next day, and I still needed his help, and he still didn't pick up the phone. So I blocked him. This is a guy that I've known for over 30 years. And it's been March, April, May, June, July, August, 5 months. He hasn't reached out. So that shows me how much he truly did care about me. And it's funny too, because him and I have oftentimes, I'll do a favor for him, he'll return the favor, back and forth and all that stuff. So we've never had this little immature squabble between us. But I'm kind of a guy in principle. It's a principle thing, but it's also, I would rather not have somebody in my phone that I can't count on than have them and hope I can count on them, if that makes sense. So if and I rarely, trust me, because of the way my life has gone, I always do for myself. So I rarely need somebody else's help. I do for myself. I don't care if it's a big tractor tire and I'm struggling to pick it up and move it down the road. I'll still do it myself. I'm a little too proud to ask for help, because doing for myself all the time means I'm never disappointed. Like he did with me, because he disappointed me. So I don't like reaching out for help, but when I do, you kind of know it's serious. And he threw me under the bus. I think I have three friends in my phone. I had 4 until he did that to me. Now I think I have 3 left over. They're definitely Alan. You know, we'll be friends until one of us die. And then maybe 2 others. And then there were 2 others within this year that I blocked. Besides that guy, I blocked 2 others because I realized they had a negative vibe about them. And again, never did for me. I was always there, Johnny on the spot, to do for them, and they never did for me. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to deal with the drama of trying to show their ass to them. If they can't see it, then that's their bad. But I don't want somebody else to train me how to treat them. Because if you just do something over and over and over again to somebody, and that somebody doesn't push back, and that somebody, oh, well, you know, that's just how they are and all that stuff, they've trained you how to treat them. They've trained you how to treat them. It's back-assward, right? So yeah, keep your friends close to you. Nurture those friendships. They're valuable. You're going to appreciate what I'm talking about when you get into your 50s and 60s, or even 70s and 80s. Friendship, real friendships, not fake ones. Not fake ones. You have to disseminate, wrong word. You have to eliminate, you have to watch people's actions. As I said when I started the video, watch what they do and not what they say. And if you realize they only come to you, because sometimes you're blinded to that because you care about somebody, but if they only come to you when they need something, you know, like, use that as a clue. You know, don't be the empath, you know, that I am so used to being, which is why it's almost like I allow people to walk over me because I do too much. I do too much for my friends. I've always got their back. I don't care, 2, 3 in the morning, they call me, got a flat tire, I'm on the road. You don't have to ask me twice. But watch what happens when I need help. Watch that. Watch their behavior then. A lot of you guys know this, but it needs to be reiterated. You got to drill it into your head. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm trying not to have these videos past 30 minutes, and I think I've done the job here. If you have any ideas, any topics that you want me to talk about, if there's anything at all you want to say, put it in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from your take on this topic or any other topics, in addition to things that you might think of. Hey, Bob, could you talk about XYZ? Could you talk about this? You know, here's the subject I want to hear your opinion on. Put it in the comment section. I don't know what the next topic is going to be. I got a whole boatload of them, and it'll be interesting though. It'll be informative. I don't know if it's interesting because I tend to blabber a lot, but it'll be informative nevertheless. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful day, whatever day it happens to be when you're watching this, and keep your head up and keep trucking. You know, like, life is tough, but, you know, you got to tough it out. Only the strong survive, and, you know, like, always keep in mind, this too shall pass. No matter what struggles you have in life, this too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. It'll pass. All right, I'm out. Enough advice for the day. Later.